Hey guys, welcome back to the Founders Disco. I'm your host Shuj, and we're here with Tommy and Hector from the MERA method. How are you guys doing?
Good, my man.
Yeah, all good. Excited to be on here.
Excellent. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Guys, tell us a bit about what you guys do, how you got started, and how we ended up here.
Yeah, shall I kick it off?
Yeah, you kick off.
So I guess I started it three years ago, maybe now. Having spent a good chunk of my early career in the corporate world as a coffee trader, and it kind of got born out of being a bit fed up with what was going on in that corporate world. I felt like I was working for quite an intense coffee trading firm at the time, and they often just prioritized money. It was all about the bottom line, the P&L. There was a lot of micromanagement. The culture went a bit toxic, and it sort of pushed me to leave that company. And I actually went traveling, went to Nepal, went climbing, which has always been like a big passion of mine, the outdoors and nature, and done some pretty silly challenges over the year. And that's always been like a big part of who I am, how it's grounded me. I've always come back with like a lot of energy, a great bond with all my teammates. And so I knew that was going to be good for me, leaving that world. Left, went climbing in Nepal, and really tried to marry up. So, when I was walking, I had a few of those light bulb moments where I was like, this is so needed for the corporate world, right? Spending time out in nature, challenge. It's a great time to think. It's a great way to meet new people. You're walking side by side. So came back with the idea of starting MERA, it's about taking corporate teams out into nature, connecting them with nature, with each other, and kind of shaking up that whole like crusty, stale team building world, which I think we all have had pretty bad experiences with. It's always been, like forced fun or some pretty bad, gimmicky, trustful stuff. In its early form, I guess MERA was pretty pure in what it was doing. It was taking teams out into nature, very loose connection, letting nature do a lot of the work. Challenge was a big element of it as well to begin with, which we sort of slowly pivoted slightly away, just because it's not super inclusive. And that's obviously a big part of what we do. We want to drive teams together, not sort of divide them apart. We sort of meandered its way into sort of a slightly new, I guess, like state, as it were, which is probably a good time for you to come in.
Like Heck, we're also in the corporate world, and we both lived in different parts of the world. I think it's actually an important element as well. Heck was in South Africa and Amsterdam. I was in the Far East mainly, and Southeast Asia, and also in the corporate game. And I think similar kind of cliche story, I suppose. Got to a point in our career where I was like, I just didn't want to be doing it forever. And like Heck, a lot of adventuring, a lot of outdoor stuff. And I came back to the UK, moved back to London, and was trying to build something similar, but not with corporate teams. So it was more focused on the people element, and I was interested in the human connection and how people operate and how people think and how we sort of connect, I suppose. And we came together and kind of fused the two ideas. And MERA is now in its current form. And MERA, for context, is a Nepalese mountain that Hector climbed. That's where the name came from. But in short, those ideas came together, and now we really want to be kind of on the front end of kind of innovating and pioneering new ways to get people together. People are spending loads of money and time in their personal lives, living better, exploring, traveling, and we want to kind of bring that into the ecosystem in which people work. So it's like, we spend all our time working. We want companies to take responsibility, I suppose, for kind of the health of their people. And it's becoming more and more important now with remote working, and with all sorts of things going on in the world. We want to bring some light into that kind of world. So it's moving really in a really exciting way.
Amazing. That's super cool. I do a lot of those things myself with my family too, so I can get with that. And yeah, corporate never agreed with me. I tried my best, but yeah, I love that. What does a typical, I guess, session look like? Is it like a session-based thing you guys do, or is it over time you guys do multiple things? How do you guys like? What does it look like in
Yeah.
action? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a real mix. Good question, and that's kind of evolving as we go. We kind of very simply, we do anything from like a half day up to like a 5 day experience, and it can be anything from like, as I say, like a short half day experience, bring in some facilitators, do some cool stuff in a beautiful part of the UK generally. But then we've got projects, around Europe. We've got a big one coming up. We're taking 32 people to the Dolomites for 4 days in Italy. That's obviously a very different experience. And then the vision actually is to kind of, at the moment, we're just building that out and evolving that offering. But the idea is to eventually build programs. So we go and we speak to a company, we consult, we understand what's going on, and we build a program with multiple events through the year and structure it with a thread based around what they're trying to achieve. And then eventually the level up after that will be more of a membership model. So we'll be being kind of bolted onto the company and creating access for all the employees to all sorts of, we don't like this word, but kind of wellness or new and exciting ways to improve your health, anything from yoga and meditation and breath work through to all this like cool new pioneering, stuff that's coming up. And we want to be kind of an access point, if you like, to all that for people. And then, the corporate element is just because that's the world that really needs it. So it's ultimately trying to help people, but through the corporate world.
And just to add on to that as well, I think to try and help people understand how beneficial nature is for them, for their like personal health, and how great a tool is it. I mean, we're currently based in London, and it's one of the greenest cities in Europe, right? And it's so underutilized, that aspect, it immediately reduces cortisol levels. So that's also a big part of what we want to do, and sort of create a community around that as well and bring people together. I think that's, I mean, we're obviously in the sort of connection game. So that's also, really important part.
Yeah, I can see that, like, like building out, as you call it, where you sort of join up as a company, all your employees get access, and you've got, hey, try 30 minutes in the sauna as a sort of part, you don't own the sauna or anything, but like, this is something that's really good for you. Go do the thing. And then they sort of bleed into that ecosystem a little bit via you. Is that sort of the idea you're thinking?
Yeah,
Down?
I think so much of this stuff is going on. Like there are all these beautiful, amazing places and venues, facilitators, creators, innovators doing cool stuff. And, we very hard of what we're doing is hosting and bringing people into these beautiful places and hosting it and bringing it with passion. But as we scale up and we grow, which we are, it's becoming a vehicle or an access point or a bridge for people to access all these things. And the way we see it is it's a mutually beneficial concept, right? The facilitators are winning, the venues are getting more customers, the corporates are, enhancing their team, their health, the employees are enjoying it instead of going and getting wasted or doing, or not enough of this stuff. But it's really if you like just look at it like that, it's like creating an ecosystem which people have access to, and hopefully, it's kind of nourishing everyone within it, if that makes sense.
Amazing. That's fantastic. So we sort of touched on it a little bit, but there was like an aha moment, right, for both of you, where you're like, this is important, this is what I want to do. What was that like, and what was the sort of, I guess, the transition from what you were doing to getting stuck into it?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of touched on it a bit earlier, but I mean, for me, like, adventure and the outdoors and nature has always been a massive part of my life. It's always grounded me, given me energy as well, like in both ways. So I've always had like one eye on maybe how I can do that more full time. Like sitting at a desk has never really been good or, like nourishing for me. So I think it was actually probably a blessing in disguise when, I was just like, we had a change of management come in halfway through my time at the company I was last at, and the culture changed. It became toxic. It became, definitely profits over people. And so that was probably the nudge that I needed to actually go out and explore like how that looks. And it also really drove home the fact of like how important the time you spend at work is on your health. Also like how important a good team culture is as well. So I think if anything, like I'm kind of glad to that company in a weird way to sort of giving me that nudge that I needed to go and explore these things, take that time out, develop these ideas. I'd say that's probably the light bulb moment for me.
Amazing. I had one of those too at some point. I was a digital agency doing websites and SEO, and it was great, whatever. But I had an aha moment and quit my job and started a circus, and did fire dancing for a living for the next 2 to 3 years. It was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about that.
Huh?
I want to hear
Look,
more about fire dancing.
it was just one of those things, man. I had this group of friends. I'd just moved cities, and this group of friends who I'd met in a very, like, you wouldn't believe it situation. Like, I'd driven 5 hours in the morning because I saw a post saying Snoop Dogg was playing in the nearest city. So I was like, I'm in the car. Like, who's coming? So 3 of us belted it and caught the show, and it was sick. And this guy came up to me with a pile of coins, and he wanted to bum a cigarette. And I was like, please, it's fine here. How old would I have been? 19 maybe? 18, 19, something like that. And anyway, we exchanged details. That was fine. And they ended up driving 10 hours to come to my 21st birthday. And years later, I moved to their city. Turns out they were super into it. So we went to the beach one day and they're playing with these, and I'm like, whoa, that's really sick. And they just handed me this stick that was on fire, and I'm like, yeah, have fun. That sort of turned into a regular activity, right? Super fun, de-stress. And eventually we had some nights, if we're out there on a Friday on the beach, hundreds, if not more people just standing on the pier watching. And I'm like, why don't we do more of this? So I started cooking, built a website, did some socials, booked some gigs. And it got to the point where I had to sit down with my boss, and I'm like, listen, man, if I don't see this through,
You give yourself a do.
Yeah, it was amazing.
That's cool.
What about you, Tommy? What made you pull the trigger and say, I've had enough?
It's not actually a very kind of cool or sexy answer, but I just remember because I definitely always separated work. I loved going out, I loved going traveling, I loved doing cool stuff, but I just kind of like a lot of us, we kind of accept that work is just this thing that we have to kind of endure, And actually for me, I remember I was in a game where everyone was just trying to make money, right? Working hard to try and make some money. And never really in my 20s really doing very well with that. And then always working hard. And then anyway, the point was I had some time where, anyway, I did quite well for 1 year. It was what I was doing, and I made a bit of money, and I was and I remember making that money, being and just being fuck, is this it? It gave me some relief. And that, kind of speaking to the more senior people in my company and seeing that, that's just all you do. So it's when I'm saying it now, I'm realizing how much of a cliche it is. It's the rat race, right? You're always and you're never really getting there. And, this kind of pursuit of that and stuff and it just became really obvious to me that I was giving my life and all my time and energy. I was working mad hours. I was working the Far East often till 3, 4 in the morning, really giving it my life. And it was just no, this has got to stop. And I was early 30s, no kids. this is the time to do it. And it was a jump and it was a risk. I went traveling, kind of cliche story, went backpacking and that was it. And I kind of like, that was, only like less than 2 years ago. So yeah, still working it out, I guess.
How did you guys meet? I don't think we got there.
Yeah.
Like, have you known each other for a while beforehand, or was it a beer at a pub, or how did you
Yeah,
guys?
it's pretty niche. Tommy obviously went on this on his big travels and things that came back to London, and basically Tommy went to university with my brother-in-law, and so one of both my brother-in-law's and Tommy's mutual friends basically put us in touch because heard that Tommy was getting back into town and wanted to explore, I guess a little bit of the world that I was in, sort of putting two fingers up to that corporate world and definitely wanting that human connection, the nature sort of piece as well, and just wanted maybe some advice on sort of how to navigate that. And so, yeah, we went for like a coffee and chewed the fat for an hour or so, and then kept in touch for a bit. And then Tommy, actually, you ended up putting on a men's day for sort of like men's work on one of the sort of MERA programs that I developed out on the south coast. And so we did that and we kept talking, and then eventually I was like, I'd really been wanting to bring in a sort of co-founder because I've been working on my own. It can be really lonely. And also I've been banging that drum of like being part of a team for so long to, like people that I was like working with, but yet I was work on my own. So yeah, eventually Tommy came on board like September time last year. We're still pretty fresh in our sort of partnership, but making big strides. It's exciting.
Amazing. Yeah, it's crazy how much more you can do when there's two people cooking. It feels like seven sometimes, you're just like, boom, instead of getting bogged down in the, because I think especially because two of you seem very outdoorsy, obviously. But a lot of business is this, and the laptop, and the emails, and the phone, and a lot of it can be that. It can get pretty draining if it's just you, right?
Yeah, and just like you're stuck in your own head and you can't really get ideas from there into fruition, whereas if you've got two people, you can kind of bounce ideas around, unpick them, build them back up, and then like run with something, right? And that's really important, I think.
Amazing. And I guess, so if we were to break down like what core problem you guys solve for who, how would we frame that?
I mean, I think we've talked about this, and we take people on very different experiences, very different groups, and kind of come to us for different reasons, and obviously different results in different ways. But ultimately, it sounds a bit cheesy or cliche, whatever. But I think it's ultimately about helping people connect with each other, right? And I know that's very vague, but like it's quite like astounding when we're doing what we're doing, how powerful our work is. Obviously, we create these like well-designed experiences, but because people are so disconnected, and I know it's a cliche, but it's just so true. People work together, they don't spend time together outside of talking about work. They often don't even spend time physically together. So the power of taking someone to a beautiful place, putting on an amazing experience with people, letting them enjoy it, and seeing what happens off the back of it, the energy of the group at the end of the day or end of the experience is always like, exciting, mind-blowing, and just seeing that change and that shift, even if it's just for a few days, doesn't always last forever, but the ultimate goal is that. So it's not that tangible, but it's this seeing the shift and the feeling the shift, and that connection in the group is what we're trying to do. And that benefits everything and everyone. That's the beauty of this product, Yeah. Everyone wins. So it's just something we should be doing more as humans, but we're just trying to create a system in a crazy world.
Yeah, amazing. Like, I've done many of this style of thing, indoors, outdoors, like great and horrific. Like one where they had 10 of us literally like flipping over pieces of paper one at a time. Like,
yeah.
But it was, and I didn't make this connection till recently, but it's very like, it's a banger when it's very similar to a toddler birthday party.
Yeah, it's good.
You know, you're like,
Yeah.
you should just sort of like, here's your structure. There's a little bit of us pulling some strings here and there, but for the most part, they're just jamming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Like, it's a good point you made there. Like, not over engineering them too much. Like, creating that space for organic connection to happen. Because we've definitely been guilty of that in the past, where you want to give the client like bang for their buck and make sure that there's like lots going on, and we're really trying to like develop formats where we really try and structure those like connection pieces, which often they do need that little nudge, and we have a few sort of like formats that tend to work for that. But like some of the beauty really comes in those little moments in between. People just aren't doing that now. Like, people are working remotely, right? And they check in on a Zoom and it's like all go. And people just like nowadays even aren't probably spending that time like going and getting lunch, or I mean, it's a good thing that the sort of whole booze culture is sort of dropping off a little bit, but actually spending some time with your colleagues after work is pretty rare now, I think.
Yeah, and the context is different, right? Like you said, like, you know, within that, especially remote, right? It's very rare that people just like set up a call just to hang out. Yeah, and we've been doing that a lot recently, is like actively encouraging our team members to just literally jump on a call and work together for an hour.
Yeah.
Like, and jabber and like whatever, like
Yeah.
just hang. Sort of creating those situations, because I mean, for one, there's a heck of a lot more learning that happens, right?
Yeah.
In between those. And two, it's just simple bonding, right? Like,
Yeah, and there's loads of science there as well, you know. This is also like a sort of side, not a side project, but something we're trying to pursue, not as a marketing tool specifically, but also just to kind of validate what we're doing. You know, a lot of these companies, obviously, see some of our clients, they understand it just very organically. They're like, right, it just makes sense to get our team together doing good things, and it helps the team. But obviously for some of the more corporate style teams, they need to see, you know, the outcome and the data and stuff. And obviously a lot of what we're doing will always be intangible. But, you know, there's a lot of science there to say, you know, how even, you know, brain science to look at how creative we are, how more effective we are, how more efficient we are when we're in these states, which is when we are more relaxed, when we are in nature, when we are having a good time, all these things which come, you know, very as a byproduct of what we do. It's not just like ethereal, like nice thing to do. It's like, this is better for everyone. Yeah. You know, that's really the message we're trying to articulate, which we're kind of meandering with. But yeah, it's just better for everyone, better for output and performance, as well as, you know, enjoyment and everything else.
100%. And like once a year, like this is not necessarily work related, but like me and close group of friends, there's about 10 of us, we try and do something together, right? Just the boys, you know, go somewhere, do something, like, and while they're like, you know, we might not always be doing the exact same thing, all of us at the exact same time, right? Different strokes for different folks. But like, you know, we pick a series of activities that 90% of people be into structure, right? And like, you go for a hike, and it's not necessarily about the hike. It's the fact that there's, you know, 9 or 10 of you doing this one activity. I personally hate walking. It is like the worst form of exercise known to man. Like, I couldn't think of anything worse, right? Like, I'll chase a ball all day, you know, something like that down, but walk, I hate it. But I go on these, because it's not so much about the walk itself or the hike itself. It's like, because you're not all 10 of you in a pack going, right? There's different paces, different, you know, people take breaks, this, whatever. And you get like quality time with literally everybody on this one activity, right? I guess that's the kind of environments that you guys create.
The walking thing is another one, and I won't quote the science on it, but it is also one thing we know just has this magical power to like help us break down barriers, all the cliches you hear, but it just is so effective. That shared challenge is a big core element of what we do, like doing something that's actually quite hard. We try and push the groups, relative to what's right for the group, but getting them to do something, push themselves a little bit out of their comfort zone, do something a little bit different, and that's what kind of, not to sound too cheesy, but that's kind of what life's about, right? When you push yourself, you step outside your comfort zone, you lean in. When everyone does that as a group, there's a fusion there that happens, and walking is a big part of that.
Still can't convince me, but that's all right. I literally my debrief, is to set up the tee and swing at a baseball. I'll do that, but walk or if I didn't have dogs, I'd be not walking ever. I guess so. 3 years now, and Tommy's been on board for 7 months ish.
Yeah,
more or less.
So, give us a little rundown. What were some of the challenges, I guess, heck, you faced along the way? And then, Tommy, when you came on board, how did that, sort of challenge dynamic change? I'd imagine you'd approach the challenges would be different and the approach would be different, right? When in the transition from 1 to 2 founders.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I kind of went to it a bit earlier on, but I think, working by yourself is tough. There's also, I brought on a coach and I found that really useful, just having someone for that accountability piece and to give me a bit of headspace and set some sort of limits, just targets, those kind of things. But I think a big part of the struggle that MERA faces on a sort of more macro scale is to really help companies understand that, you invest in your software, your processes, your tools, and you need to do exactly the same with your people. It's something which you need to constantly invest in and develop, because, employee retention is massive. I mean, the cost of a new hire is 150 to 200% of that salary. So it's really important, and building a really strong culture around that, around your team, is going to be, a big signpost to people to stay, but also to attract top talent. So it's that sort of educational piece which we're constantly working on. I'd say that's one of the big challenges that we sort of face on a sort of, people allocating the right amount of budget to this sort of thing and seeing it as not a one-off or a tick box, but actually something which can be used really smartly. As Tommy said, a lot of what we do is intangible, so you can't really go this has improved your productivity, your staff retention, because it's not a direct feed into that. But a lot of what we do is tangible as well, in a way, always try to give the teams that leave a key takeaway, and then the next time we check in and then we can have a call with them in 6 months or whatever, and we can figure out how they've got in with them, be that as an individual piece or a group piece. So I'd say those are the sort of challenges. But when you came along, what did you see?
Yeah, I guess. We haven't even had this discussion internally. So, I think what I felt has changed. Probably, obviously, I wasn't there before, but I think what we've now come together to see was what Hector created was just so pure and so real, and it was this true. And I mean that in the best way, because it's it was born out of something so real, that's what I mean. And so few concepts are. And I guess when we came together, there was more space with us and more sharing and understanding about why we're doing it. Hector's, I'm sure, I'm speaking for him, but we're so busy running it as a one-man band, you don't have that headspace to understand really why we're doing this. And I think we've come together, and Heck is more grounded and more practical and is just incredible at just getting stuff done. I'm a little bit more up here, a little bit more, which is good and bad, right? They're both complementary skills, which is brilliant. So I think when we came together, perhaps there was a bit more space to go and look where we could take this, how we can scale it, how we can and how we can make something, I'm sure Hector had this idea before, but I guess accelerated this idea of like really making a statement, really, being a brand, if you like, that represents, how we can change. Our ambitions have no ceiling, really, and that's we're having some really big conversations with some exciting people, and so I think in answer to your question, it feels like it's evolved quite quickly since we came together to really elevate what Hector had started, and a fusion of kind of two approaches and two kind of skill sets to kind of reach for the stars, if you like. We really do believe that. We have conversations with people in very influential roles who get it, and they're behind us and they're with us and they want to help us. So that's the fuel we're running off at the moment to really kind of realize the potential.
Amazing. And I guess in terms of like validating some of those, I guess, concepts of challenges, right? Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes we're like, oh man, this thing's really challenging, but it's actually not that thing. It's something completely different that you haven't quite even identified yet. Mm-hmm. Do you guys do a lot of that sort of like internal validation of like, is this actually the problem we're trying to solve, or should we be approaching it this way?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I mean, I think something which we have struggled with and we continue to work on is this messaging piece, and I think a lot of our sort of struggles seem to sort of circle back to this. It's like being super clear on our value proposition and our messaging, because at the end of the day, like, what we do, it helps with like productivity, staff retention, turnover, health of employees. Like, the list can go on, and the amount of companies that we can help is also like massive. I mean, there's no end. It works on like so many different levels. Mm-hmm. But I think at the moment our messaging is like maybe a little bit too chucking a massive net over like a lot of fish and catching nothing. Yep. So you just need to tighten that up, and I think a lot of our problems seem to come back a little bit to that. And so we're working hard on it. We're working with a branding creative agency as well to try and tighten that up a bit. So I don't know what you think, but
I mean, it's what Heck said is spot on. We getting clarity and slick, because we're having all these conversations and everyone really loves the idea, but often we spend a lot of time and they don't always convert because we're just not very clear of what we're doing, because we've got this what we're delivering now and where we want to go, and that spectrum is so big. So in answer to your question, we kind of do circle a little bit around what we're telling the world doing, because it is quite broad.
Interesting. So as I could be wrong here, but I'm throwing it out there. Messaging quite often comes from unclear intent, right? So Heck was onto something there where you're casting a huge net, right? Mm-hmm. This is a mistake that so many people, myself included, I did this for ages, right? Where it's not necessarily about throwing out one big net, it's about throwing 10 very specific nets at very specific groups of fish. I guess, let's say you have a framework or something you'd apply to a company of 30 or more people, right? There's inferences you can make. If a company is that size, there's certain income, there's certain, whatever it may be, right? So maybe those kinds of companies resonate more with like a 1 to 2 day experience as opposed to a 5. Maybe that's something for a group of like 10 to 15. Maybe, again, don't know, packages intimately enough. But then when you're speaking or posting or whatever it may be, right? Even if you're running ads, you send the specific messaging to the specific group of people that then resonate. So when you do get on those calls, you're like, oh, right, so you filled out, this whatever. You have a little bit of context already. Yeah, man, 32 people, like, it must be hard to keep them all for a long period of time, right? Doesn't it suck when someone leaves? Like, I'm sure it feels like there's a giant hole in your company. How about we help with that? You know, like, does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, you make really good points, and we're quite precious about who we approach and how we approach them and stuff. And you know, we're in this kind of as we speak to you now, we're kind of in this transition where we are scaling up, and you know, interest is there. But yeah, we need to be exactly what you say, man. We're like more strategic with, you know, we haven't done any marketing or any really big outbound stuff. It's all been word of mouth, and we've kept us pretty busy.
Yeah.
Obviously, we are moving well now, so it's just how we do that. And we're bootstrapping is the other thing. We're trying to avoid raising money. Yeah, it's kind of doing that efficiently and cleverly, so that we are keeping the authenticity and the purity of the product and reaching the right people. But yeah, man, you're spot on. I mean, it's a good reminder for us. You know, we do say it every day.
Yeah, I'm only saying because I spent years doing the exact same thing where I'm like, I can help everybody. This is gonna be amazing. Let's all. And then like everyone's just like, bro, I don't understand what you're talking about. Like, get it? It sounds amazing. Like, let's talk again in a year or two. You know, like, So I don't know. Multiple nets is what I found. Really
so
well,
right, especially for like different industries as well. You know, like you know that those guys are stressed, burnt out. You know, like startups, scale ups. They want, you know, like to create a culture of like change and for people to stay, right. And then you've got like super fast paced, which are growing like mad, and all about like that sort of growth ritual and how you keep people aligned and on track. So you're so right. There's so many different different messages that you can send out.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, because my company services many different industries, from gyms to salons to, you know, firms, right? Accounting, that kind of stuff. If I talk to all of them the same way, none of them would be interested. So we have very specific ways of communicating with different people from different industries. A lot of the time, we've been doing it so long, we know the industry better than like most gym owners. Just buy a gym and they're like, this is gonna be sick. We're like we know that game so well now because of helping people in that space, that we know exactly how to converse on that level. It's fun, but yeah, something to keep in mind that might help you guys.
We speak to like literally our clients are the broadest spectrum of companies,
bakers all the way up to you know, massive insurance firms. So
Absolutely. And even that, like, you know, you've got your finance bros and stuff who are like, oh, I'll never chill, I'll chill when I die, right?
I think it's changing though, you know. I think people
a
are starting a little bit, and of course there's that, but I think
working from home has helped that a lot. But even like an experience for those type of people who never stop, you're like, yeah, cool, you've got 2 hours in the morning, do whatever the hell you need to do, and then phones down, laptops shut, we're going out, you know. That's a completely different message than you'd give, I guess, I don't know, a team of accountants whose work like the world isn't going to melt down if they take a week off, you know. Like the tax returns will still get done. It's cool. Interesting. If you guys were to describe a potential like sticking point, right, at the moment, what would you say is the biggest thing that's maybe holding you guys back from you know, where we are to where we want to be?
I'd say it goes back to that that whole like messaging point and being like really deliberate with that, which I think also comes from, you know, Tom and I are not of that like marketing background, so it's not something which sort of comes naturally to us. And I think you know, we stay pretty honest. We write our LinkedIn posts every week, and we do that, and that's a big form of our like, I guess, marketing and sort of business development funnel. But actually, you know, we go to these incredible places, we work in such amazing places. Like having good content to share around that will do so much of the heavy lifting.
Mm-hmm.
Just figuring out how we can do that and not,
Yeah.
burn all our cash whilst doing it, really. So I'd say that's one thing.
Yeah.
Not sponsored, but DJI Osmo Pocket. I just took one of those on my 2-week trip. About this big.
Yeah.
Comes with a microphone, and literally you just flick it on and press the record button, and it's fantastic. It's got a gimbal, it stabilizes itself. Comes with a wide angle lens if you need to do, and you can buy little attachments for it, like amazing, but like it's like not quite GoPro, like you wouldn't want it on a bike or anything, but for just hit go and see what happens. It's fantastic. Chuck it on a tripod, glue it to your helmet, whatever. While it's not rugged, super versatile camera.
Yeah, no, that's look. We just it's mad, and I speak to so many marketing people at the moment, like just trying to get advice. I mean, we also, Heck and I, on a personal level, don't really use social media, so obviously this is untapped realm, and as you say, we go to some amazing places. The footage is potentially amazing. We've got testimonials from all our clients saying like, this is amazing, game changer, and we just haven't like pieced it together, but really got it out there, because obviously that's the ammunition we have, and we're just not utilizing it. And of course, with something we do, you can't show someone, you're not selling a product which you can like put on a website. It's very hard to communicate. So I guess really good, slick communication of what we do is it.
Okay, interesting. That look, it'll take you guys 2 days to sort through all of that. Just saying. 2 days. We went through something like this a few years back. I'm like, I don't like it, I don't know it, I don't want to, and meanwhile our clients are sending us all, like, everything we asked for. They sent that, like, that wasn't the roadblock. It was us internally being like, it feels gross. But couple of days of just like getting over that, and it feels a lot. It feels very natural.
We were saying that actually just before we got on this call, where like we've got so much content and potential to like really get out there. Just need to fucking do it.
Have you guys worked with any? So you mentioned a coach and a branding team. Have you guys worked with a lot of like agencies, developers, that kind of thing?
We've had a lot of conversations, but we haven't really followed through properly. Actually gone with someone like on a consistent level and like, here's a strategic plan, and really gone for it.
We've got like a coach who sort of helps us with our strategy. Or there's like a business coach for the two of us. But no, as I say, we've sort of been bootstrapping it a little bit, but it's
I think it's about to change. We need to wrap that up.
Look, one of those things, right? Because you can put in as much time as you possibly have, or you can spend some money and save a whole bunch of time. What I mean? It's a balance. You're not, when is the right time to do that? You never. It's hard to say. Typically recommend, like, if you've got like a 3 month, like, I'll make 0 sales for 3 months. If I make no more money from today, we'll be okay for 3 months. Anything above that, blow it. Like, not on a Lamborghini, but like tactical, right? Whether it's playing around with marketing budget, or tidying up your website a little bit with some SEO, or things like that. Like, if you're okay for 3 months, that's pretty safe, right? 6 months I feel like is good, but it's not enough to really light fires. We typically tend towards 3 to 5 months. Anything higher, we're like, no, we're not spending enough, if that makes sense. And that could look like many things. It does, could be a team member, could be, something like that. Someone to, I guess, coordinate experiences and while you guys are out there taking the experiences, things like that. Those are still worthwhile investments, because it frees you up to do more impactful things, I guess, within the business.
Yeah.
Again, another idea. Here's a
Definitely.
fun one for you. If you had unlimited time or unlimited money, what would be done right now?
I see this the other day. Well, not unlimited time. Unlimited, what did I say, 100K?
Sorry, do you want to go first?
Yeah, you go.
No, heck, we did actually something similar. So unlimited time and unlimited money. And mine was quite simple. And it was actually literally what you just said. It was like just getting people in to give us space. Because, I really believe in Heck and I really think we've got something truly special, like as a duo and a really cool, exciting vision. And we just haven't freed up space to like really come together and realize that together and build it out together, because every day we've just got lots to do. And we've been pretty tight with the purse strings, which meant that we haven't offloaded stuff for marketing and stuff that we're not so good at, because we want to try and work it out ourselves. And that's good that we've done that. We're like that. I think it's good because we can ease out of it. But yeah, it's really taking some of the heavy lifting of the stuff we're not good at, like that, so we can come together and spend quality time physically together, like doing some cool stuff, living the way that we are promoting, and being cool, and just having creative space. And that means going to events and nothing. We don't need to spend big bucks on what we're doing, right? We don't need assets, we don't need fancy offices. We just want to do it in a very real way, and that means creating up time and space to spend time together, meeting people, collaborating with people, speaking to brands that understand our vision, speaking to exciting people that understand what we're doing, and bringing that together and creating like a team and a community. Really what it is people, and the way we see it is just getting good people together and creating something like that is real and special, and like really passionately we see that what this can be, and we have these moments, these almost glimpses of what it can be, and then we get kind of bogged down a bit because we've just got to get so much done. So in answer to your question, time, if we had unlimited time, it would be doing cool stuff and exploring conversations and getting shit done together, and speaking to these other fucking, people that believe in this, and see this, and dreamers and people who've done special things, because, we are in that realm. So, creating space, and that means delegating stuff we are not good at. That was right. And what was my other answer? Was some new merch, some MERA merch.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Heck, anything to add to that?
Not really, no, it's pretty spot on, really. I mean, unlimited time, I'd love to walk all the amazing little public footpaths and find out some cool routes, find out, the wickedest venues, like really try and elevate our offering in that way. But I think, if we had unlimited money, it would just be delegating the stuff that we're not good at, or is like a real time suck. So, pretty spot on, really.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Sorry.
From a, I guess, delegation point, it sounds like there's a few things that neither of you likes in doing, right? Which is standard, right?
Yeah.
Our process that we use is finding a winning formula for whatever that is, right? If it's, let's say outreach, right? My profile sends out somewhere in the realm of 50 to 200 outbound requests per day across platforms. I did that myself for the better part of like a year. Did I have fun? Right.
Yeah.
But, it got to the point where the method I developed was so tight that I knew I can now safely outsource it, right? Because the instructions are clear.
Yeah.
Because I am clear about what needs to be done, right? And then it's just a matter of, monitoring and tweaking and adjusting those little points, because you understand it so deeply. If not, pay the premium and hire somebody who knows damn well what they're doing in that space. Because, delegating for the sake of delegating isn't always a good idea. And again, mistake made,
Yeah. I think we're a little
Um,
bit afraid of that as well.
yeah. So, and it's similar with your creative, with your like outbound messaging, even like,
Mm.
if you have to send 20 to 30 DMs to a single entity in order to book a meeting, right? Simply delegating that to somebody else, like raw dogging it,
Mm.
um, isn't like, unless they are damn sure they know what they're doing, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Isn't always going to get you the outcome you're looking for.
yeah,
But if you've had those same conversations 50, 60, 100 times, and you're like, bro, this is exactly how the conversation is going to go, they're going to say this, this, and this, and this, and you're going to be like, hey, and you imply values. You're not giving them a script, but you're like, all right, if they say this, here's one of the things that we talk about, right?
mm.
Then you'll have way better results. And that person is not set up to fail
Yeah,
either, you
yeah,
know? Um,
yeah. Building
yeah,
a system, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
Something-
automate a lot of that stuff as well.
yeah. AI is
Yeah.
there.
And we're sort of like, just given what we do, we're kind of, I think we've been resistant, right? A little bit resistant to automation just because of the nature of what we're doing. But of course, that's the world we live in. And yeah,
Yeah.
we've only got a certain amount of time. So,
Yeah. There's things that should be. Personally, I don't think human interaction should be automated. I don't.
Yeah.
Like, we are knee deep in AI all day, every day, and love every second of it. I've never used a machine to send a message. Like, I personally don't like it.
no, I
Yeah.
agree.
I think that's weird. But because I like being like, hey man, this thing that you're up to, like, super cool. Can we talk about it?
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
as opposed to a machine being like, hello, my name is
Yeah.
Shuj.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Real, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, interesting. So, your, I guess, unlimited time, unlimited money, just a general rig is space, right? Space to cook.
I think to add on top of that, like, yeah, it's space to go to the next level and be around. We just moved into a new office in London with a time in this office, and it's to be around like other creative people, and that's a really important thing for us. So yeah, I think my answer would just to add on to that would be getting out there, being connected with people. So yeah, I guess that comes from getting space. Yeah.
Amazing. And if you guys had a next milestone, right? A next phase of completeness for where you guys are headed, what would that look like for you?
I think building out, I mean, as Tommy mentioned earlier, but we want to build out this program. So, we loosely have it with maybe one team at the moment, but we really like to sort of enroll quite a few teams on that. So they come to us, every quarter throughout the year, and we can actually work together with them to really build through a theme that's going to help drive that business forward from a human point of view. Obviously nature's always our vehicle, but I think that'd be really useful, and the results will just will be incredible for them. And then obviously moving forward, it's the memberships. But I think the near focus is definitely that program.
Amazing. And in terms of that, like my next question is usually, are you planning on bootstrapping or funding externally? But bootstrap, I'm guessing, is the general theme here.
Yeah, we've yo-yoed a bit with that, and when I first came in, I definitely thought right, we got this great vision, we need to raise some money and get it to the next level. And there will definitely be a stage where we need to raise money because the jump is so big to the membership. We need a lot of infrastructure and people, but yeah, in short, we're going to bootstrap as long as we can. Use a bit of our own money if we need to, but yeah. Because we just hear these horror stories, right? I know so many startups and entrepreneurs who give away so early on, and we really believe there is no doubt in our mind about where this is going. So
yeah, that's fair. I guess it depends. Personally, giving away it's a very powerful tool if you use it properly, right? Because right now, 50-50, let's
Yeah.
say, right?
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you were to bring on a partner or raise funds, right, as they call it, you're not actually giving away necessarily 20, let's say it's 10%, right? You're actually diluting each of your 50 shares, right? Or, 50 portion, unless it's like, hey, your 10% is going, as opposed to, you know what I mean? Which is, but in default, that also dilutes the other half. It's a weird thing how that whole structure works. But if you're using that as a weapon, as opposed to like, oh, we need 20 grand to do something so we can make more money, right? Like bringing on, for example, someone buying in who is an absolute, like, if Bear Grylls was like, hey bro, I want to join your team,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we had that
Or
discussion.
that's the kind of weapon I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, because it
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
with
That's really
experience,
I think
following, branding, etc., as
I think that
opposed to
yeah.
Joe Blow, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
no, I think like that's actually almost more important for us.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we want to try and fund it if we can.
Mm,
But if we have someone who is like, shit, this person is really going to move the needle with us, and they believe in it. You get a lot of cold money these days, and then you're being pulled in a different direction.
yeah.
Whereas obviously what we're doing is very much coming from, for want of a better phrase, coming from the heart, right? We're doing something we really believe in. We're trying to help people. We're trying to help people live better. And, if people share that passion and they want to be generous with some money and be reasonable with the equity, and they're going to give us their heart and soul as well, and we're aligned on that, and then it's win-win-win. There's no, that won't feel like a sacrifice to me.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
so often people are going, oh, I like this, and
Yeah.
people get swept up in
Absolutely,
it.
yeah. Because if it's just cash, like there's so many different ways to get cash, right? Like between loan schemes, if you, again, not necessarily you guys, but like, hit up your uncle. Everyone has that uncle, and be like, hey, get like, 20 grand, whatever, like 10 grand, whatever. And the uncle will give it to you, and you'll promise to wash his car for the rest of your life or whatever. But like, there's ways to simply get cash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, getting a partner is it's a much more considered exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's cool about the world right now is it feels like if you're doing something cool, you attract good people. And
Yeah.
we've been getting a lot of help and guidance and connected to really great people who believe in what we're doing, and often offering their help for free or very generously, offering to guide us or whatever. And so that's cool. That's been a really exciting realization.
Amazing. I had a call from one of my partners actually today, and we were discussing something. His daughter had said to him, Dad, because like he met a lot of his friends, colleagues, partners, etc. She goes, all of your friends are really fit, really smart, and really kind, right? And this is an observation from like a 10-year-old. And he's like, we just attract those kinds of people into our lives because that's what we try and be, and it comes back, right? You don't know in what way or how or when, but it gravitates, right? Yeah, super interesting. Yeah, super interesting interaction.
It's hard to put a theory to that, but a science, but it's absolutely, we all know it to be true, right? You kind of attract what you emit. So, been enjoying that ride, really.
I guess with working out this program that you mentioned, you want it to be your next step. What kind of support do you think would actually accelerate that the most towards completion?
I mean, another pair of hands.
Yeah. I mean, I think,
Practical pair of hands.
we're now sort of, you know, purposefully spending X amount of time per week on this, going to like our best clients to go, look, we've got this idea, this is how it looks, I'd love some feedback, I'd love to like hear that's like how that's received internally. I think that's just the best way to go about it, but what's going to really move it forward? It's tricky, isn't it? I think it's really speaking to those potential clients and just hearing, stress testing it, seeing what they actually want from something like that.
We partnered up with two really experienced business coaches who work with big firms, and they actually sort of kind of came to us. It was kind of a two-way, but they were excited about what we're doing, and it's very new for them. We did a project with them recently, and I think working with people like that with good experience who understand how to help people, how to change people in a different way. You know, Heck and I are kind of the hosts and the designers of the experiences, but really bringing in the best minds and getting creative with what that looks like. Not just creating a program because it's, you know, it's more business. It's like, what are we trying to do here? And that, you know, for different teams, it's different things, but really trying to help people live and work better in the context of their work life. And, you know, there's so many amazing people out there doing good stuff, you know, who in different ways. So the next exploration for us is getting the best people together to design that and deliver that for the clients, right? So, yeah.
Amazing. I had like out of the blue, I was just wondering, do you guys both have hands-on sales experience? Like pre-MERA?
I was a broker, so it's similar, but it's very different to sales. No, not me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I was a trader, so we obviously like bought coffee from all around the world, took positions on the futures market, but also sold it into roasters. So I guess selling a product that they definitely sort of know they need and the world needs is a little bit different to, I guess, I wouldn't call what we're doing selling. It's just really, it's quite a cold word, selling, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it is, yeah.
Not really, but I think also I don't know the word selling either.
I'm asking out of curiosity and because, right, and I actually love this, like the way you guys talk about what you're doing and the programs and the, you know, like clients and you know, future clients, stress testing a new product, etc. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I'm getting I just had a feeling of like, these guys are not actually worried about closing deals at all. Like, they're either the greatest salespeople on earth, or, you know, by the time you actually get to the table, you have gotten to know these potential clients that well that it's pretty much a no-brainer for them.
Yeah, I believe in the product, right? You know, we come off these experiences and we like, it's not like someone selling someone, you know, a laptop where they're like, oh, I really like this. It's like they leave and they're like, you can feel like the change. So that, you know, I haven't even told myself that enough on a personal level. You know, we probably haven't acknowledged that enough. We know what we're doing is working and helpful, and it's just refining it and building on it. So the confidence comes from that, but it's a long process to sell something like this, you know, from the first conversation of someone loving the idea to parting with the money and carving out the time and getting the whole team together and all that stuff is a long process. So we're confident, absolutely, but we need to be better and slicker at that kind of customer sales process. Again, this doesn't sit well with me, but
process is process. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Journey is a nicer word. Like we use the journey phrase because it never, like you said, it's not a laptop. Someone's not walking in being like, hey, I dropped my phone, I need a new one, right? Like the process, right? Take them to the phone section, help them pick a phone, right? Very different where you can't, you know, there's diverging paths, right? Like ready now, maybe later, not sure what they're even on the call for, you know, like, and you sort of work through those steps, and then the next one has 5 different, you know, directions you go in, and eventually you get there, and worst case scenario, you've made a friend along the way, you know. Interesting. Sorry, I was just curious. It was
that's a good question.
Cool. Interesting. And so we'll jump into our, I guess, lightning section, right? And I'll actually get each of you to answer one at a time, because you do have different perspectives and you've come from different directions, right? What's the best piece of advice that you have received while building what you guys are building?
Cool.
For me, it's just that kind of a cliche, but it's just, you know, you can articulate in different ways, but just in trusting my gut and believing in that and really leaning into that. You might say the universe, you might say something else, but it's like, yeah, it's just like, ooh, having that space and when someone's like doubting you, or I've been through a process of leaving corporate world, leaving all the kind of optics of my life behind to move back in to my mum's house and start a business, and that took something to do that, and you know, you're getting comments and things, reactions from people around you, and building that relationship with yourself where you understand and you trust really what is the right thing for you. And I know it sounds kind of cliche, but it's just true. And I've got a good relationship with that instinct, and I really lean on that. So yeah, tuning into that is really, and trusting that.
And for you,
it's tricky. There's a few that probably spring to mind, but I think when you first start something, your own business, you go and you speak to so many people, you get advice from so many people, which is all super interesting, and even now you're still like going on lots of calls and getting so much advice, but it's a bit like what Tommy says, at the end of the day you've got to make that decision and you've got to run with it and you've got to own that decision, and that's fine. You can run with it for like, you know, 6 months, 3 months, whatever, but own it, run with it and give it a shot and then review it. But yeah, don't let the outside noise also sort of mar your sort of internal beliefs as well.
Yeah, reflection is very important, isn't it?
100%.
And yeah, we do that internally as well, where you're like, all right, let's try something, let's throw something at a wall, but if you don't look back and ask yourself why you threw it in the first place, you're just going to be throwing for no reason, right? Any advice you'd give to somebody who's just starting out? Let's say they want to quit their job and run a marathon in every continent.
Just do it. Don't look back. Why not?
Yeah, as long as you're doing it for the right reasons, as long as you're not like, it's tricky. I mean,
I'm all for it, man.
I also think even if you're not doing it for the right reasons, those kind of experiences will give you so much clarity, and like
you'll find out.
It's time to zoom out. Yeah, exactly.
There's no point dwelling on that stuff, and I think like, you know, we get so stuck in these, I'm saying it from experience, in these jobs and this obsession with all that stuff. And like, I've done some stupid stuff in my life, as we all have, taken some big risks and got myself in trouble. And I just look back and I smile, and I just think, do it, make mistakes. There's all these cliches you've probably heard on this podcast 1,000 times, but someone who's doing it saying, oh, something's telling them. Because if they're thinking that, something's telling them. It's a bit like what I was just saying, trusting that gut. And even if it's just to shake you out of the world and reality you're in, then it's a good thing. And as long as you've got a solid relationship with yourself, then yeah, it's always beneficial, in my mind, for me.
Yeah. Amazing. And guys, where can people find out more about you and the work that you guys do in MERA?
Yeah, so I mean, we have, you know, obviously our website is MERA-method.com. MERA is the name. Have a Google, but yeah, we're pretty active on LinkedIn. Find us through the email, which is hello@mera-method.com. And yeah, our Instagram needs some work, but it will be coming. We'll be improving. But otherwise, find us on LinkedIn, Tommy Williams Jones and Hector Turner. But yeah, mainly website.
Yeah, drop us a line. We'd love to chat. Always open for a chat.
Amazing. I'll have those all linked for you guys. Tommy, Heck, thank you so much for being here. That's us for today. Is there anything you'd like to add on our way out?
A little pearl of wisdom.
Just do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think those 3 pillars, nature, connection and balance, are so important. If you get a chance, get out in nature, spend 15 minutes, half an hour of your day going for a walk, no phone, no AirPods, and you won't be disappointed.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. And see you guys in the next one.
See you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Judge.